Hello friends, my name's Cadmus. I'm a law of assumption content creator as well as a reality shifter. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok with the username ShiftingwithCad. You'll have to excuse my cat in the background. He's playing. He's got a lot of energy. All it takes is me setting up the camera. Now my channel has mostly been about law of assumption, but I definitely created this channel wanting to make shifting content. I am a shift talk creator on TikTok. I know a lot about reality shifting. I know a lot about law of assumption. I'm very spiritual. I firmly believe that law of assumption and shifting are like one and the same. Once you apply the principles of law of assumption to shifting, you see movement in your journey, especially if you've been stagnant for years and have only mini shifted or haven't shifted at all. I found out about reality shifting May of 2020. And practiced it half-assed up until like December of 2020 when Shift Talk kind of kicked off because I didn't have all the puzzle pieces. And then I practiced and had one or two mini shifts until October. It was either October or November of 2021, which is when I shifted successfully for the first time. My first two successful shifts were accidents, but the third time I made it to my DR. And I have been successfully shifting ever since then. I've had points in my journey that I have been stagnant. I've experienced traumatic things in desired realities. I've been to a lot of places. My main DR at this point is Hogwarts Legacy, which we'll get into that in another video. But for now, I would just like to talk about what it's like to shift. And I mean the act of becoming aware in another reality, rather than the shift itself and what you experience. I'd just like to talk about how it feels, or how it can feel, to become aware elsewhere. So in order to shift, you have to have a place in mind of where you want to go, where you want to become aware, what you want to do, like at least have some sort of gist. You don't need a full-on script with like your backstory and your middle name and your zodiac sign and who's your love interest and who are your best friends and where exactly are you, and you know, like what does it smell like. You don't need all that, but you do need an idea of some things. Now personally, this is all gonna be in my own opinion, in my own experience, what works for me as a disclaimer. So I personally don't use methods much. Recently I've been using the Julia method a little more, but typically I will script or read over my script or listen to music that reminds me of my DR, maybe something that's happening in my DR. I maladaptive daydream, so it's really easy to like kind of feel, like evoke emotion from music and scenarios in my head and all that stuff, and that kind of gets me pumped up. And then I will go and I will meditate for 10 minutes on my intention. And that to me just looks like repeating 1 to 3 affirmations. The ones that I like to use are: I shift effortlessly every time I attempt. I am aware of my intended reality. And then I will use the third affirmation as something like, depending on where I'm going, I wake up in my Ravenclaw dorm. I am in my Ravenclaw dorm. I am, if you have a different name, in my Hogwarts Legacy DR. I actually do go by a different name. So I'll be like, okay, I am Maheda Del Rey. I am Maheda. I am Maheda. I am Maheda. That sounds like I'm saying I am a hater. I am Maheda. Maheda. I am Maheda. Okay, you get the gist. So I will just meditate, and that usually pertains as like, I do it sitting up because I have a hard time focusing and not falling asleep when I'm laying down, so I'll do that sitting up. And I get more symptoms that way as well. Like I said, this is all personal on my own account, and if it works for you, great. It's something that I would recommend trying because I do things a bit differently than what is usually spoken about. So I will meditate on those affirmations and my intent, and then when I'm ready to actually shift, I'll either use a method, like I said, the Julia method I've been using recently. I do love the Alice in Wonderland method, or I will just listen to a subliminal. Here recently, I've been listening to subliminals that pertain to Hogwarts Legacy. I found this one audio that's not really a subliminal, but it's Sebastian Sallow sleeping next to you. And it's really just hearing his breathing, and it does it for me. I don't know, I just put that on. I could even like not do anything and I'll shift with it. I don't know, it's magic for me. I don't know, it works. Or I'll listen to just audios. It doesn't even have to be subliminals, but audios that have to do with Hogwarts, or even just like AI audios with voices. That's what's been doing it for me, paired with affirming and visualization. Not that you asked for all that, but now you have it. Now when I'm actually shifting, I feel my body kind of go numb. It's hard to feel where my limbs actually are. Usually I stay in the same position, like mentally I know where my limbs are and how I'm sitting or laying down. I will interchange them, I do both. But if I'm exceptionally tired, I won't lay down and I will just try to shift sitting up. I have a really hard time falling asleep, I don't know. I know a lot of people do lay down when they shift. I would recommend trying to sit up and do it if you do fall asleep easily, but for the sake of the majority, I will talk as if we're laying down. So I'll feel my limbs kind of go numb. I know where they are, but one symptom that I get often is I will feel my limbs in places that they aren't. That's a symptom that I feel. I'm going to talk about my symptoms. There are a lot of symptoms that you can have while shifting. A lot of people say it's your body falling asleep. I still think even if it is, that's kind of the point. You want your body to rest and your mind to be awake. So it's pointing you in the right direction. It's always a good sign. And to shift, you don't have to have symptoms, by the way, but they're always a good sign. So don't get discouraged when people are online saying, oh, it's just your body falling asleep. That's the point. Another big symptom I'll get while shifting is hearing things. Twice now, well not twice, but it's happened more than twice. I guess I don't need to explain it all, but twice now I've been shifting to Hogwarts Legacy where I'm coming to on the train. The first time was the first time I shifted there, and then the second time is the last time I shifted there. Both times I was on the train coming from London. So for a bit there, before I did successfully shift for the last time, I had a few attempts where I would just hear things like crazy and like feel my limbs in different spots, and I got all these symptoms, but I just like couldn't get there. And I would always hear the Hogwarts Express, the train, the wheels on the rails, the people kind of talking. That's why I was saying it's been more than twice, but I think you get the gist. So I'll hear things. And it's not always the train, because on my second shift to Hogwarts Legacy, I was waking up in my Ravenclaw DR. It was just me, just my dorm. A big symptom for me is hearing things. And it's not always the same thing, you know? Like, it lines up with where I'm coming to, where I'm waking up. The second time I shifted to Hogwarts Legacy, I was waking up in my Ravenclaw dorm. And during that time, the only things I really heard were the birds chirping outside. I felt like a gust of wind coming in from my open window. I felt my cat jump onto the bed and walk around. It was more like feeling things rather than hearing, but I heard my cat meow. I could hear the wind. It's that kind of thing. I don't think that's really a symptom of your body falling asleep, considering you aren't hearing the same things or feeling the same things. That's another symptom I tend to have, is feeling things, whether it's someone touching me, just feeling my surroundings change. Like you can tell. I have this one particular symptom I get when I'm like there, and that's seeing light behind my eyelids. Like, you know, I tend to shift in a dark room, and I always know, I'm like, okay, I'm there. When I have my eyes closed and all I see is like light. It's not dark, I can see the light, like, you know what I mean. Those are just my big symptoms. To touch more on becoming aware elsewhere and like that actual feeling without all the symptoms is really just, I wouldn't say your surroundings changing is a symptom, it's more like it's happening. I guess I could go for all of the symptoms, which there's many more than what I've listed, but actually becoming aware of a different body, of a different place, a different atmosphere. Like, it'll hit you all at once. You'll have your eyes closed and suddenly, like, you just feel the difference around you. Your limbs are in different areas. You could have fallen asleep or just been trying, I do mostly sleep methods. You could have been trying to shift sitting in a chair or laying down on a mattress, and then suddenly you're on your side on a bench. You were in a dark room and now you see that light behind your eyes. You physically feel different. Your body might be different. Your hair might be a different texture, a different color. You may have scripted your body to be different. You'll feel those differences without having to look in a mirror to notice them. You'll smell different things. You'll feel different things, like the bed that you're now in, like the sheets, the material. You might have specific feelings while getting there. You might get scared. You may have been, trying to achieve this for years and years and years, and then suddenly you feel like you're doing it and you're like, ah, I'm scared now. Like, it just suddenly, it comes out of nowhere. I've had that happen. I've psyched myself out like quite a few times. I would have shifted sooner for the first time if I had just let go of that. You've been doing this for years. This is what you're trying to achieve and now you're scared of it. It's hard to get over. It's normal to feel that way. You're going to a different reality. It's normal for all these doubts and these concerns to pop up even though you know the answer to them. So persist in that. Other feelings could be just a practical euphoria. You know you're doing it and you're like, oh, I'm so close, like I'm there, I'm like all those feelings. And I would say while shifting, your feelings are stronger, especially being elsewhere and realizing that you're elsewhere. It can be overwhelming. You might focus on it, you might psych yourself out of completely shifting. But those are all things to learn from, and you have to find what works for you. I'm just going off what works for me and telling you, you have to find your own methods. You have to discover your own symptoms, the ones that you get, what works for you, what doesn't. Don't take me at my word like this is the end all be all for everyone. It's just me, just my experience, and everyone's different, everyone's unique. Shifting is a very individual experience in its own. You have to experience it yourself to really believe in it and diminish your doubts. It's all about how much work and effort you put into it. Persist consistently. That's all I gotta say. And I will leave you with this. Really look into law of assumption and apply those principles to shifting. If you feel stagnant in your shifting journey, things will change for you. I guarantee it. I hope this video was insightful, entertaining, educational, motivating perhaps. And if you'd like to, you can go ahead and leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And I will see you again in my next video. Thank you!